We're delighted to be joined by former privateer student athlete and current Atlanta Braves manager, Brian Snitker. And first of all, Mr. Snitker, thank you very much for taking a little time to spend with us.
Oh, my pleasure. This is always good to talk to my old buddies from UNO.
And before we go forward, obviously, to today, let's kind of take a look back at you and your playing career at the University of New Orleans. You played here for a couple of seasons. First of all, just kind of talk in general about your experience as a student athlete in the lakefront.
I loved it. I loved it. You know, myself and Mike Swingle came in from small junior college in Illinois. You know, Mace is from up in that area, so he recruited up there, and so we came down together our junior season, and you know, I had never been down there, so you know, it was really cool. I loved it. The people were awesome. We had a great group of guys on our club. Everybody got along real well. You know, we all stayed right there in the first year in the dorm and on the lakefront, and everybody's real close. And it was a great experience. I know the one thing I wasn't ready for was the humidity in the fall, you know, during the fall program. And we played a lot of baseball. I mean, it is a great program. You know, compared to, you know, we had that right out there by the dorm, and a cyclone fence is the home run fence, and what those kids got right now with their clubhouse and everything is really special.
And you mentioned about the teams that you played for, who had a great record on the field in those 2 seasons, won a combined 61 games to just 23 losses. It's certainly been a successful program throughout. But just kind of building a different foundation, because of course you were part of the period where it was transitioning from Division II level to Division I, and just kind of talk about being a part of that and building off the success of the prior teams at the D2 level.
Well, you know, I was aware of all that. I saw the LSU UNO and things like that in the Division II. I was aware of their World Series appearance up in Springfield, and you know, when we got down there, I'd say our schedule was something else. I mean, we played, you know, all the big Division I powers in baseball, and you know, ended up going to the regional. So it was really good. I guess, you know, none of us knew any better. I mean, as far as we were all concerned, we were all Division I school, and getting in there. Some of the guys, the holdovers, you know, had some experiences to draw on, but we were kind of the group that I was with were kind of making our own new experiences. So, but it was great. It was really good. Like I say, it was great baseball. Just you know, the schedule we played. I'd say that there was some few holdovers from the LSUNO days. I think, matter of fact, I'm not so sure that the uniforms we first wore when I was there had the LS taken off the UNOs because it was just becoming UNO. So, you know, like I say, with the schedule we played, Mason, I thought, did a great job in recruiting really well. We brought in a really good class when I came in, with junior college players and freshmen as well. So, you know, it was just it was good. I mean, we were transitioning into Division I. Like I say, the group that I was with, we didn't know any better. I mean, we started off in Division I playing that rough schedule, and had a really good time.
And of course, you referenced your coach and Ron Maestri, and obviously everybody knows about his record and how talented the teams were year in and year out. But just kind of talk about what it was like playing for Mace, and maybe what's something that maybe not as many people know about those teams back in the day that fueled the success that you guys had.
Well, Mace was an unbelievable recruiter. I mean, he had a great cachet of coaches that he, you know, especially in the junior college level. I mean, he was recruiting from Dades and back in the day, that junior college in Iowa he recruited really heavily, and did a great job of meshing, you know, freshman talent with the junior colleges, and you know, Mason's a great baseball guy. I mean, he's very knowledgeable. He was a great coach, had a good staff, you know, and did a really, really good job of putting together a lot of pretty much high-profile guys. I mean, there's a lot of us that went on to play professional baseball, and Mason's tree is pretty full. I mean, he's got a little bit of everything from GMs to major league managers, major league players, college coaches. You know, a lot of us went on and furthered our career in baseball, and a lot of it was because of Mace.
And you obviously mentioned that, of course, with yourself and Randy Bush and Mike Waddett, just to name a few guys from in and around that era that went on to become managers or executives, Pulmonary as well, college coaches, and kind of just talk, kind of expound on that a little bit more and kind of what you see as far as maybe the coaching style of Mason and how that kind of groomed you guys to go on in the positions you guys were at today.
No, Ace was full bore. I'm telling you that. I mean, he wasn't afraid to get thrown out of a game, and I don't know. And so, you know, he just, it was serious. I mean, it was serious business. We never kind of missed out on our Friday afternoon happy hours or anything like that after practice. And I think, you know what, which was all good. I think that was just, you know, it just kept us all that much closer and bonded us all. And it was a great culture there. I mean, it was a winning culture when we all came in. People knew who UNO was. We all went out in summer leagues. Mason did a great job of getting us slots in a lot of the better and faster collegiate summer programs. And so it was just, you know, it was a great experience. I think Mace is always a guy that did everything he could for you. You know, the guys now we're all it's still a great group and a great alumni group, and we're all very close. You know, Mace is a great friend of mine and my family and his family, and he always stayed real close to the players and you know, so it was just the whole situation right there was conducive for a lot of us to continue in our careers in the game.
And of course, you go on after your playing days at UNO. You played a few years professionally before joining the Braves organization as a coach, and you get hired by one of the legendary names in this game, in Hank Aaron. And take the folks back to kind of that day and what that was like, not only to get your start on this path to where you are today to becoming a major league manager, but kind of the magnitude of that moment and being hired by one of the legends of this sport.
Yeah, it was great. You know, I was drafted by the Cubs and then got hurt, and so I didn't. And ended up signing as a free agent with the Braves. Bob Didier, who was from down there, he was going to manage the rookie league club with the Atlanta Braves. Hank was just starting out as the farm director at that point in time. So at the end of my playing career, he offered me an opportunity to stay with the AA club, and I was throwing bat in practice and whatnot. Then he called and sent me to the rookie league to be a pitching coach. You know, I was a catcher, and I guess he figured I could handle that job. So I went to the rookie league for the rest of that summer, became a pitching coach, and then he offered me a full-time job after the fall. I went to the instructional league. They offered me a full-time job. I rogue the following year, and then he gave me a managing job in 1992. So, you know, I'm very beholden to Hank for whatever he saw in me. He's again another guy that remains a close friend today, and you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I mean, and you know, so I'm very appreciative of everything he did, and I've been blessed to have been surrounded by a lot of really good people, a lot of caring people, and a lot of really good baseball men, and over the course of my career.
And of course, you managed throughout the minor league system as well, and won a couple of championships and managers of the year. But kind of talk about what were some of the biggest lessons that you kind of took to heart as you learned and grew, maybe from Coach Maestri and from those who you surrounded yourself with along that path?
Well, I mean, biggest thing is patience. I mean, in this game, especially when you're dealing with young players, is you got to have patience, because it takes a long time to become a really good baseball player. And I think in baseball, you're never done learning. I know I'm not right now. I mean, you're always learning from the players. You always take away things from them. You take away a little bit of something from everybody that I think that you have experiences with, and you take a little piece of all the managers and coaches you've had over the course of the years, and kind of mesh that into who you are. And I kind of feel like myself, I'm a combination of a lot of different guys that I've been fortunate and blessed to have had the experience to be around, such as Mace and Bobby Cox and Hank Aaron, and you know, there's old timers, guys, Bobby Dews, Johnny Sane, guys like that in our organization that were just Jim Beecham, who's a very close friend and mentor in my life, So I've been blessed. I told people, that I've been raised by Hall of Famers, or guys like John Schuerholz, Bobby Cox, Hank Aaron. There's been a lot of guys and a lot of Hall of Famers that have had big things in my life that I've tapped through all my 40 some years.
And of course, the Braves are certainly a traditional an organization with a lot of tradition and a lot of winning years, but it kind of fallen a bit on harder times. And you get the call to come in 2016 and kind of this is a team that really started to turn things around in year one, where they started. Of course, the record's not going to show it, but popped off a couple of very significant winning streaks and kind of talk about what you tried to instill in year one.
Well, I think when I got there, I remember I told Freddie Gonzalez, who I replaced, is still a very good friend of mine, and I think they were 9-27 or something like that. And I called Freddie 2 weeks into this thing and said, you know what, you guys might have been overachieving with what you were doing at that point in time, and I just tried to bring a little stability to the situation. I mean, it was a conglomeration of players from all over the place, and it wasn't a great mix. I'd had a lot of those guys in the minor leagues, so I was familiar with a lot of them. There was a lot of them that I hadn't had, I told the players, the record wasn't great. We weren't really getting the results that we wanted per se, but it wasn't because of lack of effort or trying or preparation. And it was a grind. I mean, that first year was when I took over was a grind to get through. I mean, there was some obstacles that I was in a new job. I thought I had an idea what I was getting into, since I'd been up there as a major league third base coach for a number of years, but I had no idea what I was getting into. I sat beside Bobby for the last 4 years of his career, and he made everything so easy that everybody thinks it was easy, and it wasn't. Now, I had a lot to learn, but the biggest thing I think I tried to do is just bring some stability and to get that Braves mystique going again, and that pride that everybody has in our organization, and it just took a while. I mean, there was some tough decisions to be made. There was some tough conversations, and like I say, it was a grind to get to where we are today. But you saw down the road, and I was firsthand recipient of this. By managing a lot of those young guys that were in the pipeline. So I knew it was just a matter of time if we could just hang in there, and they needed some stabilization. I mean, when they looked at me and things were going bad, they needed consistency, and those were things that I needed to provide to that club, that the sky wasn't falling, that the thing was okay, and if we just kept working and doing our thing, that things would get better down the road.
And you fast forward, of course, to today, and obviously there's a lot of uncertainty going on now with the course of the pandemic that we're currently living in. But one thing that's really certain is this Braves team that has a lot of promise, not just set up for the present, but set up so well for the future with several young stars. And what do you think are the biggest characteristics of this team that kind of bears that out?
Well, I think the biggest characteristic is we got a lot of guys that like to play baseball. I mean, it's just I've said that. And they're genuine. They have a love for the game, and they like to work, and they like to compete, and they like to play. Just the other day, I mean, they were at a high school field here in Smyrna, and they had a full board practice. Just guys that were around here, they're waiting this thing out, and they were throwing live batting practices. And the guys, they genuinely like to play. They genuinely have fun playing baseball. And I've said that a number of times. It's like, man, what a novel idea is. These guys enjoy playing baseball. And it's not work to them. And they, like I say, they like getting out there early. They like doing the work. And they love competing. And that's a great resource to have. And it's really good if you have players that have that inbred in them. And, it's a great young group. They're still not as where they're going. Their ceiling is still high. They're going to get better. They're going to continue to improve. And with that improvement, our club's going to get better. We're going to get stronger as we get more experience. They've been through a lot the last couple of years. I mean, that's September baseball. When it means something, you can't replicate that. You have to experience it. And they did. And I was amazed at the first year we won the division, how they reacted in September when we had to win games. I mean, look down that dugout and feel like I was with an American Legion team. I mean, those guys were having the time of their lives and just loving every minute of it. And I was going home and I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep, and all I wanted to do was get to the ballpark, and it was just like nothing to these guys. And again, those are great traits to have as a team and individuals.
And kind of transitioning back to you, as we talked about a little bit earlier with the amount of managers and coaches and executives that have come from UNO, as you transition from student really to mentor now, what do you think are some of the biggest traits that help translate kind of that you impart to kind of the younger generation and generations of kids today that want to get into the game in some type of capacity, and obviously just some of the things that you've learned along your path?
Well, you have a dedication to your craft and what you're doing, and it's not going to be easy, and you're going to miss a lot, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time. Like I say, I've missed a lot of things that have happened with my children, and you're away from home, and it's not easy. It's a tough road, and I like to say a lot of times we're all comfortably miserable in this job. I mean, it's because there's a lot of hardships in it, and whatnot. So a lot, and you got to try it. I mean, a lot of guys, they'll retire from the game and they get back into it. And I always tell general managers, you got to let them kind of do it on their own a little bit, because they have young children and they're not sure if they want to get in it. If you beat them over the head with it, you might lose some good baseball people. So I think you transition them in and you break them in, and we're doing that with a couple of our former players that I've tried to bring on board. And they'll know when the time's right, and they've been at home long enough, and they need to get back and scratch that baseball itch. So we've like I say, there's been a lot of guys that have left from UNO, been very successful Division I head coaches, very successful in the professional ranks, and they were all ball players. They're all guys that were dedicated to the game and to what they got going, and they've all done very well.
Of course, kind of transitioning now, you were able to join in on a Zoom-in call. It's basically an update in the program, and I got to start with a lighthearted note first. And Coach Maestri was talking about this cooking with the coaches segment that he's looking to bring in with Coach Dean. What's Brian Snitker bringing to the table in that scenario?
I'm limited, I'll tell you that. I mean, I've been known to cook a mean pot of soup. I mean, I used to subscribe to Southern Living magazine just so I could get the recipes in it and try, especially in the fall, try all the soup recipes. But that's fun because I know Mace is really proud of all of his Italian dishes and his tiramisu and all that. I spent a week with him in Italy this past winter, so I got to hear about all of it firsthand and how he would compare his cooking to the real thing that we were getting. So I think it's great. I mean, it's Blake's done a great job there. He's done a really good job of getting the program back to prominence and getting, quality athletes in there. And so we always wish him all the best and do whatever we can to help him.
And we talked about obviously the tradition and the pride of this program with obviously 2 College World Series appearances and so many accolades that have been accrued over the past 50 years. But kind of some of the things that you took from the call as far as the future of this program and where it's headed.
Well, I think they've been through some tough times there, like a lot of we went through tough times here, and it was a tradition rich program there. I mean, even the basketball was really vibrant when I was there, and we had really good basketball teams, and a lot of some guys went on and played NBA careers. And I think there's just certain ups and downs and peaks and valleys that you have to weather, no matter what you're doing, and no matter where you're at, and what sport you're in, and can be going as good as it can be, and the next thing you know, man, those losing streaks can happen really quick, and those downturns can. And that's why I always tell my players, it's like, you got to live for today. You got to do everything you can to make today the best that you can, because you're never guaranteed tomorrow. And I think in sport and anything that we do, and in industries and universities and the whole thing, I mean, you got to weather some storms. And it's kind of like, if you want to drink the wine, you're going to have to stomp on some grapes. So, it's just, I think it's one of the things that they were going through. It's I can tell, and you can see with the success that they're having, that this thing is headed in the right direction. And I think they got the perfect guy at the helm to help get this thing through. And I know Mace is always there in the shadows, is probably one of the biggest supporters of this program. And Tim's done a great job. I think, his enthusiasm and everything that he brings, and energy and dedication and devotion to this program he's going to do some really, really good things there.
Well, Mr. Snitker, first of all, I wanted to thank you very much for joining us here. And when we're able to get back to the ballparks, best of luck to you guys on the season, whenever that may be. And wanted to thank you very much for taking some time today.
Well, my pleasure, Manuel. It's always, like I say, it's always a pleasure to talk to my UNO buddies, and I wish everybody well there. And hopefully we just keep grinding through this, all of us, and get everything back to where we need it to be.